Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special Halloween night episode of Doctor Who Reviews. Science. And we are discussing the Big Finish audio, the Lovecraft Invasion, which certainly fits the spooky theme, I would say. Although the true horrors are not provided by any ghosts and goblins. And speaking of ghosts and goblins, I'm joined by my three co-hosts this week. Firstly, to my virtual left, soon to be spoke by trick-or-treaters, the breadth of Newfoundland, it's Freezing Inferno.
He did the mash! He did the monster mash!
God damn it.
Is that the voice again?
I've risen from the grave to
It was the
come
voice
and
again,
comfort
okay.
you all with laughter.
Jenny, get the fuck out of here.
Treat cats!
Jenny was a friend of hers. And to my virtual right, double the trouble, double the fun, it's Cognitive Saber, better known as Cat, and Hawk McBlade, better known as Kris.
Yo! What's up, all you
Hey.
crazies?
Yeah, we're going 4 people again with this one.
Yay!
Look, Kris just heard Lovecraft and she was like, I'm in.
Okay, so, there is a first and foremost thing I need to explain. I heavily separate artists from their work. So,
Well,
I
that's
did
fitting.
know that he was a horrible person in general.
Don't
But
ask
I
about
do-
the name of his cat.
Don't bring up the cat. Don't bring
I
up
gotta
that
bring
poor
up the cat.
Ugh.
That poor cat.
I mean, the cat didn't know. Cat don't
Yeah.
understand any of this. He
No,
just
the-
living his best life.
The cat is innocent in all this.
Yeah, it's the one who stole them. Wait, we're talking about a different cat, aren't
Wrong
we?
cat.
But yes, I've always loved the cosmic horrors, the non-Euclidean nonsense, the things so huge you can't comprehend it aesthetic of Lovecraft. I do not condone any of his beliefs or the treatment of people based on their beliefs, race, religion, color, whatever. So that out of the way, this was
That's
fun.
absolutely fine, and I'm glad you clarified that. Also, this was Kris when she found out the next episode was about Lovecraft.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not wrong. And I sure hope that the audio drama is about all of those concerns and things that Kris just mentioned.
Well, happily, it is.
Ugh.
Spoiler alert.
Maybe too much about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it might go a little bit too
It
far.
was that poor horse was killed a long time ago, and they just absolutely obliterated his corpse with a nuke.
Oh, it's
on
dead,
many
and then they took
occasions.
the head and put it in somebody's bed.
And then they beat the person in the bed.
That's the mafia for you.
Yeah, and then the stick broke and they're like, give me a new stick. But they're already give me a new stick.
Yes.
Do you
Although I
think
will
you
say
did
the
it
doctor's
actually a little
speech
too
at the
far?
end
We just
did
But,
work
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
That summed it up nicely.
yeah.
But
So,
yes.
since this is a audio with a whole slew of companions that never actually appeared on TV, perhaps we should introduce the Doctor and his traveling companions. The Sixth Doctor, we all know and love. Mr. Rainbow Coat, slightly abrasive, but still the caring, feeling Doctor we know and love. When he's not being angry or pissed off. Yes, Cat. That's you got. So
I can't help it.
we
I
all
love
know
him.
we all know Colin Baker's Doctor, but who is he traveling with in this story?
Well, I do have some information on these two. Because the other character's not really a companion yet. But we have,
I guess character.
we have Constance Clark, who is a Royal Navy Wren from 1944, where she worked at Bletchley Park. That's where she was working when the Doctor picked her up. And hilariously, what was supposed to be her debut story ended up not being her debut story, because the story she was in after that was released early. So whoops.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Oopsie.
There was
Fair
there was a special anthology box set of which she was part of it, but she hadn't actually been introduced yet. So like, who the hell's this Constance Clark person? Why is she with the Doctor?
Mm.
Just
Wibbly
'cause,
wobbly,
you know.
timey wimey.
And then we have Flip Ramon, née Jackson, who is a street-smart woman from contemporary London who worked in a supermarket.
And by contemporary, we mean 2010.
Yeah, like present day, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you say present day. That's 10 years ago.
No, Kris, that's 12 years ago.
Oh my God! Don't remind me.
Nearly 13.
Yeah,
Help.
okay. Yeah.
Help, I'm old.
Okay, so 2010's near contemporary Earth. But the point is that Constance is more of a historical companion, which we don't get too much of in the TV show.
The Big Finish will delve into that a lot. Just because they can do that.
They've got more of a license to work with that.
And we are sort of introduced in media res to these three and the guest companion for the story.
Which I'm going to say right now, Kris, we'll talk about her when we get to that part. I know you have things to say, as I do as well.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. You're talking about Calypso, right?
Yeah, Calypso Jones.
We'll talk about that when they actually show up. But may I start with the festivities then?
Go wild.
Just checking that no one's actually, rung your doorbell yet, or mine for that matter.
I don't have a doorbell. They're gonna knock.
All right, and nobody's knocked on my door either because.
Well, it's okay. We'll know if somebody knocks on Frez's door because all of a sudden we'll just hear like the intro for Death Note, which is like,
oh, that parody of
Death Note? Don't you mean Death Tone starring Lisa Simpson?
That's amazing. That
I will kick him in the face.
That Death Note parody is quite frankly incredible. You can tell a lot of the people that worked on it know the show. It's just not that scary. Or, well, not scary, it's not funny.
As someone who likes Death Note, I wasn't a big fan of the few clips that I saw, so...
I can understand that. I just thought it was amazing to see Simpsons characters that were not yellow. And also the idea that Homer is a drunk salaryman and Marge is so proud of him. That's kind of very close to Japanese culture.
That's exactly Japanese culture.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Treehouse of Horror or any other Simpsons episode. We are talking about the Lovecraft Invasion. And we start with a familiar theme, the Trial of the Time Lord opening theme. Good grief.
It's what Big Finish uses for Sixth Doctor. It's a good theme.
Yeah, I can understand that. Keep it separate from the Fifth Doctor audience that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And we open with a self-destruct sequence straight away.
Yeah, it was a very cold start.
Doctor Who, Mirror Alert. Wait, no, shit. Not that self-destruct alert.
This was probably one of the first audio dramas I've ever heard that was set up like this. They used a lot of the theme song, like a lot of tracks we had to skip because they were just the theme song. Is that normal?
It's because of the cliffhangers. They're pretending it's like episodes.
It's very normal, yeah.
All right, fair enough.
But I agree with you. I had to skip through that as well. It's like, I've heard this already. Come on.
It's like at one point, like we're both doing stuff while we're listening to this, and all of a sudden, just like this really creepy music comes up, and then it keeps going, and we look up and we realize that it was just all the music as a sort of intermission from the actual audio drama. And we're like, okay.
Well,
yeah, I mean, this like cool, spooky atmosphere stuff, but use it during the drama, maybe. I don't know. That's a nitpick for me.
They do love using the intermission trick there. So yeah, they're trying to set it like it's an episode of the TV show. So 4 separate parts.
Yeah, I can get that.
But I agree with you.
Fair enough.
It's a bit jarring.
I mean, it was cool music, and like I applaud them for getting that in there and written and stuff. Good job. Arts A+. Just why? Why here?
I love that. I love that it was music, but why was it here? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
so many audiobook writers are shaking their fists at you right now, Kris. You don't even know. How dare she insult my craft?
Man, these audio dramas, they sure have a lot of people just talking. When are they going to show me something?
See, like, I didn't even mind that part. That was. It's when they were like trying to do scenes where like they're running around or there's like dramatic action. It's like just woo!
Yeah, just let them do the action. I understand that.
They did a good job. It was just
Speaking of
kind of
running
weird.
around,
Yeah. But everything's exploding basically, or is about to explode. We've got the Sixth Doctor, Flip, and Constance. We've also got the guest character, Calypso Jones. They
Yes.
actually have their big on the inside moment. They kind of struggle with it. What's my next
funny
It's,
talk
idea?
about
hard to get
corridors.
across.
Yeah. It says,
What was the thing about the corridors?
Or Constance or Flip, one of them says, "Oh no, all these corridors look the same," and then the Doctor comes in and it's like, "All these corridors look the same."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
It's an
probably
old Doctor Who.
Constance,
It's
'cause
an old Doctor Who trope in the old show. It was all just a bunch of running up and down corridors.
being from the
Yeah.
1940s,
Benny
the whole gimmick
music
with
plays.
Constance is that she doesn't exactly get certain modern concepts straight away. As
well,
we'll
I
find
mean,
out-
she's from the 14th century.
No, 1940s.
Okay.
World War II.
Okay.
She's a
All right.
codebreaker at Bletchley Park.
There was a 4 in there somewhere. I'm fine.
There's
two
a
fours,
4. I'm
technically.
close
1944,
enough.
But, there's a 4
But
in
yes,
there.
this explosion that they're running from is on a out in space, I assume.
Yeah.
There's like a laboratory, there's all sorts of things going on, and Calypso is there to recover a creature
Yeah. A sentient
because she's a
bioweapon.
bounty hunter.
Holy shit, this is Metroid.
Bam, 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 bam.
Oh, what I would give to see that played over it.
The stupidest name for this creature, the Somnifax.
Even worse names in Doctor Who.
Well, hey Kris, isn't the Somnifax a thing actually from Lovecraft?
You know what? They called it a Dreamweaver, and the Dreamweaver is a Lovecraft thing. But
Yeah.
Somnifax, I believe there's like some Latin stuff going on there.
Well,
Somni,
somni
I
obviously
believe.
means like
Sleeping,
sleep
yeah,
or dream
yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Like
But
Sleep No More, Kat's favorite episode, and she will fight you on it.
100%.
Sleep No More after seeing it again.
Come at me, bro.
I have turned my opinion around on Sleep No More.
Apparently, we're now allowed to say anything the fuck we want on Twitter, so...
Jesus.
That's unclean.
Speaking of racists...
Yeah.
I can't believe Nibelian is leaving the platform.
This Somnifax thing, it is
Yeah.
escaping through time.
And
so,
space.
And
time
the
and
Doctor-
space.
You know, it's going through time and space, passing by Jupiter and Mars as it goes back in time, and then the Doctor's just like, "Oh, it's going to Earth because of course it's going to Earth."
Yes, and Calypso explains that this particular creature attaches itself to a person and makes their nightmares come true, essentially. Apparently, like, this species occurs naturally in the universe or whatever, but this one has been weaponized specifically to go after nightmare fuel.
Indeed.
So, of
And
course...
So of course it ends up in Providence, Rhode Island in 1937.
In
Yep.
January 1937 specifically. There's a reason for that.
And
Mhm.
meets a certain old writer.
Oh god.
Who's about 2 months to retirement.
Yeah, literally.
A cat's
Permanent
not...
retirement.
Permanent
Chibnall?
retirement,
I
right.
thought we got rid of you last week.
Permanent / enforced retirement.
But yes.
Yeah, so this is Howard Phillips Lovecraft, HP for short.
Yep.
We
And
immediately endear ourselves to this character by him objecting to somebody speaking Spanish. What?
Yeah.
A friend of
Is
his
it okay if we talk about this
down
now,
on the
since we've
Latin
already
corner or
brought
something
it
like,
up?
We don't use that language here. Oh, sorry, Mr. Lovecraft. Why? What's wrong with Spanish?
because
But-
they need to hammer home that he is an awful person. And this is the first
Yeah.
time they killed the horse.
But I didn't think he
Yeah,
ended
can
up
we
defeating the fans of Spanish.
talk about this now, please? I would like to talk about
Yeah.
this now.
Oh, please.
Go
It's going to be
ahead.
half the
Let's
damn
go wild.
recording.
So we get it. Lovecraft was racist. He was xenophobic. Unfortunately, it was the norm at that time. We completely understand. It's a horrible thing by our standards. It was something that was completely normal back then. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
The first time they said it, that he was racist and xenophobic, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good with that. The 10th time they said it, I was like, okay, you're starting to, overdo it a little bit. And then by, the 20th time they said it, I'm like, okay, we get it. Stop.
Continue on with the story, please. Like, are you?
And
are
it's
you,
like,
we know.
It's like-
the doctor has this whole thing with Flip when they're closing in on it because they've zeroed in on HP Lovecraft, and it's like, ugh, I used to like this guy, but he's racist. And Flip's like, he's racist? I didn't know that. And they have a whole conversation about like, oh, my childhood is ruined now. And it's like, you think that's awful? Well, I found out one of my favorite authors used to blow up planets for fun, and that I couldn't even read his stuff after that.
Was that a dig at
It's like,
J.K. Rowling, do you think?
I don't know. When was this audio
2020.
drama done?
It was published
This
in
was
2020.
Okay.
2020.
Honestly, I think yes.
Has she
This
gone
is a
crazy at that
huge dig
point?
at.
No, see, I know
Yes.
exactly what this is a huge thing about, because this was officially recorded by Big Finish on the 29th to the 30th of January 2020, when cancel culture was in its height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is 100% them trying to do their best to not only cancel H.P. Lovecraft, but be like, we know that we're glorifying him right now. We have Cthulhu, and we have, the Necronomicon and everything. We know that's happening. We know he's racist, so we're just going to say it as many times as possible until it gets into people's heads that we are not condoning what he did. And it's like, you did that the first time. Really? You did.
In here, like, I had a theory on this because, like, I know that, like, there's some episodes of Classic Who that are, uncomfortable, to say the least. They made a huge point of making sure that they made absolutely no quarter for any of what was depicted to possibly be misconstrued as depicting anybody of any color, race, whatever, in any sort of horrible light except for H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know you're using him as a scapegoat and you're trying to differentiate yourself from your history, but again, you didn't need to go this far with it.
And, it gets even worse. I'm going to skip ahead to the end, but at one point, I believe it's Calypso who says that she's not angry at H.P. Lovecraft anymore. She finds him pitiful. And, she's trying to sort of garner some sympathy for him. And it's like, honey, we just spent 2.5 hours listening to you not only beat him up, but also the fact that everybody else was saying over and over, he's racist, he's xenophobic. And now you're trying to garner some pity for him?
Was it Calypso or was it Flip?
Calypso.
I don't remember which
But
one.
isn't
Okay.
Calypso
I believe
a
it
they,
was
not a
Calypso,
she?
though.
Yeah, they, excuse you.
It's okay. I knew you weren't doing it deliberately. I was just double checking. But, the whole point of Calypso in the story is they are a they.
Yep.
And that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get into this right now because this needs to be talked about since we're already on that topic. I was going to wait until later because Kris also has some stuff to say about this, but we got to say this now. The writer of this, his name is Robert Valentine, and kudos to him. He wrote a pretty good story. He wrote the character of Calypso 100% just to be everything that Lovecraft hated.
Yep.
And that's not, me saying this. This is something that he actually admitted to.
I mean, there was literally a scene later in the audio where they're basically like, I'm this, and this. I'm basically everything you hate, and the future's coming, and your bigoted ass can't stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fair and fine.
In the Chibnall episode, the Thunder would have burned it to the ground. I'm serious.
But,
I'm personally angry about this because they turned Calypso into a prop just to, antagonize an old white man who's racist and xenophobic. But it's stuff like that that really gets to me because she is entirely a prop. And, sorry, they. It's like, I'm not trying to be mean about this, but, I honestly don't remember when they ever said that they were a they.
It's in that big speech. And also, they keep correcting Constance, because Constance is constantly calling them Miss Jones.
Yeah.
And they're like, just Jones, no Miss.
Okay,
Constance
well
is
then,
like, my B.
I apologize, they are they.
But
they're like...
I think you're okay because they do make a point of saying that Constance is only doing it not because she's bigoted, not because she's doing it deliberately. She's just not used to this concept because she's from the 1940s. And then
Which is an interesting parallel because with your argument, HP Lovecraft is also from this time, and he gets no sympathy when he says. But the difference is that
Constance works to change.
Yes.
Constance puts the work in and realises it's not right, and she tries to change it. And she gets it wrong because she's not used to it, but she's not getting it wrong because, I'm deliberately going to call you she because I don't believe in the concept of non-binary.
Yeah.
But it's like you can see my point about them.
Absolutely.
They're
your
specifically
argument is
there just to be that.
Your argument is kind of like, someone there not just for their identity, but to take down Lovecraft a peg.
Essentially, yeah.
Like the opposite of a straw man.
And, may I make my point that I have the issue with?
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am an artist. I have a plethora of original characters, all of which are better than me. And they specifically made a point of taking, what is his name? Lovecraft's avatar, his main character in a variety of his stories. Yes, Carter. They made a point of specifically pointing out that, he's the spitting image of you. Ha ha, nerd. You're such a dweeb trying to make yourself better than you are. How dare you? And then this is coming from Calypso, who is literally a sparkle dog. She's there for one purpose. One purpose. Never existed before, never had anything else to it. They were solely written for the purpose of being the antithesis to this one character. And I take issue with that. How dare you take somebody else's creation, whether it's of this dude that is a total fucking bigot or not, how dare you sit there and criticize an original character, even if it is a wish fulfillment character, when you have literally made a wish fulfillment character to destroy him? That's my issue.
It's that's my main problem with Calypso. They're an interesting character. They're a bounty hunter. They're trying to do what's right for them, because in the beginning they're all about the money, but the fact remains that they were put in the story 100% just to be anti-Lovecraft. And that's not what people of the LGBT community are all about. It's like you don't just put people in because you need a prop. You put them in because that's what life is like. There are trans people, there are non-binary people, there are people who go by different pronouns. And even if you don't particularly agree with them, you can still shut up and, just let them live. But they don't take Calypso that way. They put them in positions where they're just, like, I'm going to be super rude and salty to Lovecraft, but then at the end, I'm going to be super sympathetic and think that they're actually pathetic. You can't have it both ways. You just can't.
Yeah, you can't just deck somebody and then say, "Oh, you poor thing, boo boo."
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's feel good in the moment, but it just felt like bullying at the end.
The one, I think, positive thing about Calypso is this is not their only appearance in Big Finish.
Yeah, I
I
did have to look that up. This was her first appearance, but she does appear again in one more episode. Hopefully more in the future. So they're not just a Sparkle Dog.
Sparkle Dog?
Yeah, a Sparkle Dog.
Okay, you have to explain this. I'm not really
All right. A Sparkle Dog. Oh my goodness. So, disclosure time. I sort of am still a furry. I was in the furry community for a while. I liked drawing furry art. I still like drawing furry art. I like looking at furry art. Quotation marks on art. I will admit. There was a huge divide within the community about whether or not characters that were drawn up just to be pretty were valid. And it became a huge thing. They were called Sparkle Dogs because, like, you would have these glorious rainbow creations that had zero character to them. They were just a pretty face. There was no depth of character. There was no integrity to them outside of just looking gorgeous. I have a half wing of an angel and a half wing of a demon, and my hair is full of rainbows and colors, and I am super special, and I'm a demigod.
So basically, it's the furry version of a Mary Sue.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Not only just a Mary Sue, it was solely based on aesthetic. And that's fine. It is perfectly fine to be a Sparkle Dog. But, like, the whole controversy with it was just so overblown and ridiculous. Like, it took on a lot of negative connotations. But a Sparkle Dog is just floof, essentially. In the end, that's what it ends up being, is they are just pretty little things for floof. For one specific purpose, one specific piece of art, one specific day that you decide to be that character.
Well, at the very least, Calypso was used in another audio, so...
Yeah.
Right.
They have grown beyond the purpose of take a racist down a peg and be the antithesis of everything.
And that's good, that they've become an actual
Which is honestly
character.
good.
Yes, because she was
like, I'm glad they found a use for the character beyond, like, haha, you're racist and I'm everything that you hate, so therefore I'm better than you. Blah, 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 blah.
Kris, I'm not going to enforce it. You're okay. I know you're not doing it deliberately.
No, like, the voice is female, so that's my autopilot because I'm still not used to all this.
But the portrayal is
they're AFAB, I guess. So that
I believe.
What's the whole thing that they say that they are? I forget
trans, non-binary, pansexual bounty hunter from the future.
Yeah, and like that's another thing. If they are trans, like they are specifically making themselves to be their ideal. Why is it such a bad thing that he made his OC his ideal? Like, again, it just feels like bullying.
I mean, Lovecraft did have his
yes, he was a horrible person. He was a horrible person, and he went through a lot of horrible shit. And he was 100% pathetic. But like, again, I felt bad for him.
It comes down to the idea of 100%, we're not excusing racism. We're not excusing bigotry. We're not excusing, xenophobia or anything like that. What we are excusing is the idea that every single time someone vaguely, alludes to the fact that they are one of these things, that you have to attack them 100% all the time. It's the same thing with J.K. Rowling. And I'm sorry that I keep bringing her up, but she's like, this one applies to me.
Mhm.
I
So,
don't like J.K. Rowling and I don't like what she's done to Harry Potter, and I don't like what she has said about trans people. I do not. I will still 100% defend her right to be able to say this, just because that is what you have to do. It's like,
Yeah.
it's one of those really difficult things. It's like 100%, I don't want to go around policing people's views or what they say or what they do, because as soon as I start doing that, that's, in my opinion, censorship. And I would rather know that someone is a horrible person rather than they hide it away and then it comes out, in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
fact that we know 100% that J.K. Rowling is, not a good person is good, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm so anti-censorship. I foam with rage at the thought of it. I believe 100% that every single person should have their voice. It doesn't need to be heard, nor does it need to be agreed with, though.
freedom of speech, not freedom from consequence.
Right.
Correct.
Or even
Absolutely,
agree with.
100% correct.
Yeah.
And also, I probably would have mentioned JK eventually in this, because there is a bit of a debate there between the Doctor and Flip, basically about being able to separate the art from the artist, which you mentioned,
Oh
which
God.
Yeah.
I feel that definitely in the modern climate, JK is, well, and I say this with the least offense meant, the modern Lovecraft,
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
a popular author with many beloved works who also believes some reprehensible shit. And so a lot of people have to grapple with that.
Honestly, that's a really good comparison, because J.K. Rowling in her actual books has also written things that show exactly what kind of person she was, where people can make allusions to where the goblins are very stereotypically Jewish.
I was going to mention the goblins, yeah.
Where Rita Skeeter has been described as having mannish hands. It could very well be an allegory for trans people. And maybe not everybody sees that, but there are enough people who do see that and can agree with that it's kind of like how in Lovecraft stories, he did have racist and xenophobic actions in them.
Of course, there are two big differences between JK and HP, which is that one, HP is dead and JK's alive, and two, HP didn't have Twitter to amplify their beliefs.
Thank God.
And
Yeah.
three, HP died before he became a success. J.K. Rowling is still around to destroy what she created.
That's a
Yeah.
very good point,
Well,
yeah.
there are a
you
lot
call
of
it HP, I'm
differences,
just keeping
but
the,
a lot of
the
similarities.
source, and I'm God damn it.
But yeah, I'm like getting way off topic. The point that I wanted to make originally is that there is a time and a place to bully somebody for their beliefs. And it's not when, like, obviously you don't want to go around just bullying people in general. But if somebody says something that is racist, xenophobic, bigoted, something like that, 100% go after them. Tell them why they're wrong in a respectful manner, because if you just go around attacking people, they're not going to change. They're just
No.
going to see you as internet haters who obviously don't know what they're talking about, and they're going to become more defensive.
Instant
It's still
correction.
right. If you try to correct the matter instead of just plain out bullying them, like how the Doctor at the end gives this whole speech to Lovecraft about how he can do better, that's what you need to do with these people. The more that you attack somebody, the more defensive they get, and the more that they are ensconced in their beliefs.
Exactly. They become a martyr.
Yes.
They become a martyr.
Exhibit A,
But
still
yeah.
items.
So it's like, I think that's our biggest problem with the whole thing. It was a fantastic story. It had fantastic characters.
Mhm.
But the way they presented HP Lovecraft was 100% as this horrible guy who had no redeeming qualities whatsoever, which, you know, he's bigoted, he's racist. Take that as you will. But they also, like, completely admit some of the other stuff, like how he revolutionized, you know, the entirety of science fiction and stuff like that. You know, the fact that Call of Cthulhu and other such works are still humongous, you know, I hesitate to say tropes, but I would say more just common ideas that are here nowadays. And it's the same thing with J.K. Rowling. If you try to ignore the work because you don't like the artist, you ignore a lot of pulp culture that's around nowadays.
Mhm.
And that just seems ignorant to me. You have to be able to separate the art from the artist, and you're perfectly allowed to dislike both or like one but hate the other, or, you know, whatever it is that you feel about this. That's not what we're trying to say, is that you have to feel the exact same way that we do. But what we are trying to say is don't go out and just bully people because they are a certain way, because that just ruins everything and that makes it even worse.
Yeah, because like Calypso proved his point by slapping him or punching him or whatever. Like in his mind, you know that he's going to be thinking, "Oh, well, this is just some savage, violent savage, blah, horrible." It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to change anybody's mind. It's not going to prove your point. It's just going to feel good in the moment, and it's going to have repercussions that hurt you in the long run.
Yeah. And it's like, they're very lucky in this case in which that, you know, H.P. Lovecraft is 2 months away from dying, but...
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he died in horrible, horrible pain every second that he spent in the hospital 1 month after he got diagnosed with intestinal cancer. So he died a very painful, horrible death.
Nasty.
He did, yeah.
Very nasty. Well, I wouldn't say good, but he had a shit life.
Yeah.
The crazy thing
It's
about
like,
it is
hopefully we're comprehensive about this. It's
Yeah.
like, we're trying to not pile on this man who was, you know, in practice a horrible person.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to show the reality that he was a horrible person. It was the way the times were. It's something that we do not condone today. There's very little that we can do about it. Because you can, you know, you can say, I will never read or play any game or do anything that has anything to do with Call of Cthulhu or the Necronomicon or any of his IPs. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
be
because there's
perfectly
so much
honest.
influence. Like, it's everywhere. It's influenced so many other people.
I'm pretty sure
Like,
most
it's
of
gonna...
D&D was based off of a bunch of Lovecraft stuff,
if
to
you
be
played
fair.
the
Oh,
Binding
yeah.
of Isaac at all, you have been influenced by Lovecraft because the Necronomicon's in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch Evil Dead, the Necronomicon's in that.
There you go.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And
It gets to that point where you're like, I'm going to boycott this, and 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 this, until eventually you have pretty much nothing left.
yeah.
I mean, drawing the line that I will not buy any work written by H.P. Lovecraft seems
Yeah,
like
there you go.
a fair enough. That seems like a fair enough, a reasonable boycott, and it's so. I mean, I
yes,
certainly
but
wouldn't go out and buy a Lovecraft thing
The
myself.
way madness lies, though, is when you take that initial stance and then it turns to, I will not let anyone else buy H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
and then here's another thing, though. It doesn't benefit him. It never benefited him in any way. He
That's
died
another
a
thing.
failure. So what does it matter in the long run?
Well, it matters for your own, you know, ethical code.
Oh,
I
yeah,
suppose.
100%. It's like right now, I desperately want to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter because it's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm also having that ethical dilemma of I really don't want J.K. Rowling to get any of my money.
So obviously we murdered
there's-
J.K. Rowling.
No, don't even joke about that. My
Not
God,
that
we're
we
taking the fast food to say about a cadabra. Jesus.
Fucking look what happened to Graham Norton, for God's sakes.
Oh God, that poor man. And the crazy
Didn't
thing is,
even
it wasn't
mention
the
her by
person that
name.
he criticised initially that took offence.
Didn't even mention her by name.
It started with a critique of John Cleese.
Mm.
John Cleese did not attack him for it. I don't know if John Cleese even reacted to it. And then, as Fresno says, didn't even mention J.K. Rowling by name. But no, we're going to get this guy. Get this guy off the social media, because how dare he attack Saint J.K. Oh.
He was literally just like, hey, instead of talking to big celebrities like about trans issues, why don't you talk to trans kids? Why are you asking me this?
A
Ask
very
the
valid
trans
point.
kid.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same J.K. Rowling that wrote a book about how a big transphobe was having to deal with internet haters. So...
Is that one of the Corbin Strike novels?
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Oh God, when the BBC
new.
gets to adapting that. Oh boy.
God. You know, it's funny because we were in we were in town a couple of weeks ago, and I actually saw that fucking book at the bookstore, and it was like, I got a Stephen King with my birthday money, and Stephen King, he writes bricks. The fucking new book by J.K. was twice the size of the hardback I got.
Oh God. Oh,
And it's just,
that's another one that was influenced by.
And then Mr. Poo Poo Stinky Pants Troll said that I was mean online, and then he died because he saw. It's literally like hundreds of pages of that shit.
So J.K. Rowling's got a death note noted.
Oh.
Right.
That's exactly what we've been talking about this entire time. She's trying to bully people by writing a book and having it go out for sale. She's essentially capitalizing on her bullying of people who don't agree with her viewpoint.
Yeah.
And, making her fans bully them by proxy.
Yeah. Ugh.
The crazy thing about Lovecraft's portrayal in this is, yeah, alright, he's a horrible person, I get that, but they actually explain part of why he's a horrible person, because of what happened to his parents.
Mm.
They were both sent to
That
an
was a
insane
good part
asylum
of it,
and died there, so that would be enough to change anyone, you would think. But they don't actually... They just say, oh yeah, he died in the insane asylum. That doesn't excuse what he is. What? It doesn't.
Yeah, that
excuse
was
it.
weird.
It might explain it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off one here, but
No, honestly, this entire time we've been going
We've
off
all
on
been on a big tangent about this, I think, which is if nothing
But
else,
honestly-
I've stimulated interesting discussion.
oh, you've done
Yeah,
that.
honestly,
Yeah.
I think this is the one big problem with this serial. They turned Calypso into just a big prop in order to get back at Lovecraft. They turned Lovecraft into like this... essentially, they boil him down to just his racism and bigotry and xenophobia, when he was a lot more than that. They even go to the point of giving him a whiny voice, like he is, a horrible little tiny person.
Is that the
Constitution.
or is that a deliberate choice?
I think it was a deliberate choice, honestly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because
actually,
they
when he talks
give,
to Carter, he's got a normal voice. You're right. Damn it! It was actually a choice.
Yeah, and it's like 100% slam Lovecraft for being a racist. Slam Lovecraft for being a bigot. Don't pick on somebody's character. I keep going back to these same two people, and I'm so sorry that I do it. It's like all the stuff that makes fun of Hitler.
Yeah.
Don't turn Hitler into a joke, because the minute that you turn him into a joke or a monster, he stops being the human being that he was, and we start forgetting the horrible things that a human did. You have to make them human, because otherwise, what is the point of teaching us about them?
You make it this
And
sort of...
there is that invocation of the war, the Second World War in the story, with Constance where she calls out Lovecraft and is basically like, yeah, you know, the logical endpoint of everything you believe is what I've been fighting against for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And that I didn't mind
And
so
you
much.
know, see, like in my research, and I don't know, I'm sorry I can't give you any sources, but apparently, like, he abhorred violence, and when he started hearing from his neighbor that had been over in Germany about what had happened to all the Jews out in the street, he stopped standing Hitler so much. So I don't know if that completely changed his beliefs, but it did insult his person, I guess.
More than likely it didn't. He's probably one of those people who is like, I want them to stay away from me in their own little places, but I don't technically want to hurt them, question mark?
Yeah, which, you know, is better than going out and lynching people, I guess.
Yeah. It's not fantastic because he was still a racist bigot, but, you know, at least it was better than going out and actively trying to harm people just because they're a different race.
Yeah.
Also, his wife
God,
was
the
Jewish.
bar is so low.
It's so bad. Everything is bad. This is so hard.
So can we talk about the good thing I think that this story does, which is the plot?
I mean, the rest of it, yes.
The plot.
Yes.
The plot's
It's
really-
like, seriously, those are my only two problems, were just, you know, the slamming of Lovecraft constantly, and, you know, like shoving it in our faces, and then Calypso essentially being a prop. Those were my only two
Well, that's great that we got that
nitpicks
out of the
about
way
this
because
whole
we can
thing.
now discuss the plot without mentioning those two things.
Yes, please. Let's move on.
So yeah, the actual meat and potatoes of the story is actually pretty good. I mean, we're operating on Matrix rules, of course, because flipping the doctor go inside Lovecraft's mind or a manifestation of his psyche to get the stolen facts out of it, because it's gone inside HP Lovecraft.
Hey, Rain. You want to know what's wild? So, technically, with Calypso, this is a 3-person TARDIS team with the Doctor, right?
Yes.
And isn't it interesting how Robert Valentine manages to take 4 TARDIS travelers, and he splits up the plot into 2 halves. So you got the Doctor and Flip doing stuff, and then you've got Calypso and Constance doing stuff, and nobody is sidelined.
I do appreciate
Isn't that
that.
So you're
interesting?
saying that Robert Valentine
Nobody gets yazzed.
Yeah. You're saying that Robert Valentine is not a pseudonym of Chris Chibnall, then. Got it.
Yeah.
I think we got that
Robert
pretty
Valentine
clear.
actually knows how to handle a 4-person cast.
Which,
Unlike
Hey.
Chibnall, who was like,
Another
okay,
slight-
3 people, and yes.
another slight tangent. I hate the fact that Chibnall used to be a really decent writer when he had somebody controlling him. But now that he has nobody controlling him and he's the showrunner, all of his shit sucks.
I mean, if you
Well,
want to
he's
see
not
how
the
good
showrunner
this
anymore.
can be, watch Broadchurch.
You know,
I know. But you know what it
I'm
reminds me
gonna-
of? It reminds me of George Lucas.
I was just about to
Oh
say
my
that.
god, no. No.
Yeah.
The original trilogy was fantastic, but he had people over him who were telling him to do stuff and not do stuff. Some of it he listened to, some of it obviously he didn't. But as soon as he got to making the prequels, he had full, creative control, and most of them sucked.
Revenge of the Sith was the
Yeah.
one.
I will say, if nothing else, I admire George Lucas's sheer willingness to just smash shit against each other and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Now, with the prequels, like his success rate dropped, but I still admire that boldness rather than Mr. JJ. Oh, you know what? I'm going to throw at Star Wars to see what sticks. More Star Wars. You like Star Wars?
God.
Keep some Star Wars in your Star Wars.
Yeah, but Fresno, counterpoint, the midichlorians.
No, see, J.J. Abrams took the idea and said, you know what Star Wars needs? Some Star Trek.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not wrong.
And then Catherine...
Although
Isn't that-
really,
Pissed off about Last
Isn't it
Jedi.
funny?
what
The most
J.J.
modern-
Abrams did was took the first one that he did and said, you know what Star Wars needs? To completely rehash the first movie, which is technically the 4th movie.
Yeah.
Ironically,
And then he's
both the modern
came back
Star
for the-
Wars and
for
Star
the
Trek
ninth
trilogies.
You know what this film needs? Palpatine.
The modern Star Trek and Star Wars trilogies. the movies I like the most out of them are the ones that J.J. Abrams didn't do.
A
Funny that.
Funny how that works.
But yes, continuing on.
But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're
I
like
mean, we
getting
keep
way
trying
off
to
topic
continue
here.
on, then we keep diverting the car to a hedge.
No, yeah. It's Halloween, where the spooky specters have taken away all logic and narrative plot structure of going through the review in order.
So now it's a haunted hedge. Great.
It's non-linear now, kids!
Oh,
Fuck
God.
you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
That's the most genuine fuck you I think I've heard from Trash Cat.
Kris, have you watched the episode where Frez explains the Jenny voice to the general public?
I have not. I'm
You
sorry.
can do it really quick if you want.
No.
Please do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not
If
gonna
need be,
say
we'll cut
this.
it out.
All right.
Hijacking your channel.
All right. Quick, here we go. The quick Jenny story. Kat streamed the pigeon dating sim Hatful Boyfriend and made me do voices for it. One of the pigeons in Hatful Boyfriend is a murderous pigeon who murders the title character, and
Yes.
it's implied that he cuts off her head. And the voice I was doing for this pigeon, because he was a murderous, creepy one, was the Conqueror voice, which is what I go like this. And then I had this scene where I was improvising the fact that he was holding up the dead body of this lady and pretending that she was alive and fine, so talking in like a lady voice in this voice and combining that. And then for some reason I went into the song by Tommy Two Tone 8675309 and called her Jenny. Jenny, I've got your number. I know you're feeling fine. And so that's the story.
And to this day, he can still get me just by doing that voice.
I think he got Kris
Yeah,
too.
damn right I can.
I highly approve. Good job.
Thank you.
And that, Kris, is why every single time that song comes on, I start giggling.
Does she really?
She
I
does.
was just saying that, by the way.
Have you done that in Chris's presence? Like you're just
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like sitting there in the car and she's just laughing her ass.
So, things that Fresno has ruined through the medium of this podcast. Mirrors for me, and that song for Cat.
You say ruined. I say I enjoy it way more now.
Fair enough. Has influence then. Has influence rather than ruined.
Improvement.
Has enhanced. Shut up.
Can I just say it sounds like a sexy...
Thank you
A
for
what?
cutting that off, somebody. It sounds like a sexy blank.
I love how it cuts off after you just say sexy, and it's like, yes.
It was so bad it censored itself. Great.
Yes, you're right. It is pretty sexy.
Sexy Yoda, specifically.
I'm glad it censored itself the first time.
Okay. If
I need to lie down now.
Call up
tempted to do.
Yoda.
Oh,
There's a new
Oh, now
Yoda-like
you got
character
me
in
making
Star
want
Wars
to do the
called
Star
Yaddle.
Wars quotes.
Alright, I'm lying down. I'm on the floor right now.
Okay.
I can't.
Here's the thing. You mentioned Yoda. I have to bring this
It's
up
a
now.
force and a powerful ally it is.
I'll wait
Do
till
or
it's
do
finished.
not. There is no try.
I'm already on the floor. Don't make me go deeper.
She's phasing through. She's gonna no-clip into the backgrounds.
All right, Rainiac, talk about this story.
Well, I want to talk about Yoda. All right, no. Anything to not talk about the story. Okay, so yeah, they go into Lovecraft's psyche to try and lure the Somnifacts out, while Constance and Calypso are left to babysit Howard, HP Lovecraft. He immediately gets away from them by going through a window. He gets Constance to go for tobacco or something, and she immediately obliges, despite it being obviously a trap.
Yeah.
Less a trap and more an opportunity to escape.
Yeah, so he leaves with the equipment still attached to his head, and the Doctor and Flip still in his head.
Which they
Yep.
have a nice conversation about separating the art from the artist, which I think I said already, but I do like that angle of the audio.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
because not only does it's relevant to today. It's Doctor Who tackling a subject that is in the past, but is still relevant today, which is, can you separate art from bigoted artists?
I mean, the Doctor even says
Yeah.
it in the dialogue, and then says, "I can't." And yes, I did just say that.
Yeah, that's a great thing. He's just like, when more of Lovecraft's ghouls are like manifesting in the real world, and he's coming out, and he's like, "We got to get rid of them. We got to separate the work from the artist." And yes, I did just say that.
I think
Yes.
it's the author from his work, but it works.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Can I also point out, like, that whole thing with the ghouls was fantastic, because like HP ran up to these horrifying creatures and spoke to them one-on-one like people. So I don't know if that's touching on the tiny sliver of humanity they allowed him, or if it's just him taking advantage of what's already in his head. Take it as you will. But I thought it was kind of cool.
I mean, to be fair, if you are a writer or an artist and suddenly your OC came to life, wouldn't you be geeking out over them despite how evil they are?
I'd be
yeah.
I'd be horrified, frankly, because what are they going to do to me after all I've put them through?
Yeah, that's actually a
half of
very
my
good
OCD
point.
killed, so I wouldn't last 5 seconds. But
I will say at one point when Carter was introduced, I had this theory that he was going to be like, they kind of touch on this a little bit later in the episode, in the drama, but I thought he was going to be like, this asshole put me through all this shit. I'm joining the Somnifax then.
Yeah.
I kind of thought he would do that, but he didn't.
yeah, twist.
Yeah.
Please.
And like he had like a sinister tone to him, to where I would have expected that, but he kind of just poofed in the end. That was kind of weird. He just
Well, the
vanished.
dream will poop, so he doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, they go into his head. They track down HP. They're going through, goodness, Innsmouth, and they're hearing weird noises, the woo woo of Shoggoths, and it's fantastic because it's creepy and it's good, and I'm just, you know.
I don't know enough
Although I
about
will
the
say, I was
work.
giggling the whole time, and I turned to her and I'm like, is that really the noise that Shoggoths make?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was described as. I don't know if it's actually what it was intended, but then he said flu was the pronunciation of Cthulhu, so whatever.
And then Cthulhu comes in, and he's just like,
My God. We should also mention Flip is with the Doctor in Lovecraft's mind, because her cousin used to run Call of Cthulhu campaigns, and she used to play in them, so she has some familiarity with, the monsters and all
Can I
that.
just say her cousin's an asshole?
Yeah, because like she was looking at the end of the book, so he kicked her out of the
She
sessions.
wasn't even playing at that point.
No,
What a dick.
Damn.
I mean, like, you don't want spoilers, and then you go and spoil it. As DM,
although
sure,
to be fair,
I can
he
get
sounds like one of those DMs.
But Flip didn't even say that she then spoiled it for everybody else. She just said, he caught me reading it and he threw me out.
Mm,
Wow. I see
Yeah.
He's
what
one
I
of
did.
those DMs.
One of those DMs.
Oh, there's DMs.
There's one of these. There's one of these.
Speaking of DMs, we got to get that story that I had been planning off the ground at some point. We need more people. Rain?
Don't look at me.
Damn it. Alright, I'll find somebody.
Do you think I have time
Somebody.
for that on top of the other 50 million things I got to do at the moment?
fair
Oh,
enough.
like watching
I haven't got
Symphogear?
time to watch Symphogear. I haven't got time to write my
Ooh.
book.
Hey,
I
Chris,
haven't got time-
I
haven't
did
got time
finish
to do it.
Chainsaw Man.
That is true. I
Oh,
will
yes,
start
yes, I
season
forgot.
2.
I said if I watch Symphogear, I could then get on to Chainsaw Man because I can't watch 2 series at once. Okay, I know Chainsaw Man's fantastic, so fine. I will try and struggle through Symphogear.
Yeah,
You make
I'll
it
start
sound like it's a
season
bad-
2.
You make it sound like it's a bad show, Rainier.
It's not a bad show, but you've sort of built it up to be this gigantic thing. I was like, I just want to watch a show in my own time, and not be constantly prodding like, when are you going to watch it, Ray? When are you going to watch it, Ray? When are you going to watch it, Ray? When I can, all right?
I don't ask every day.
No, every week.
Just every other day.
No.
But yeah. Okay, so the next thing that happens, let's see. They're running through the fog. They get shot at by angry gentlemen that I can't remember the name of.
I think his name is Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And of course, like, he's crazy, so therefore you've got to follow him because this is his head, and maybe it's the Somnifax.
I think they say he's an 8-foot cultist. Does that track?
8 foot. 8 foot?
8 foot tall.
I don't remember.
Don't know.
I'm not saying he had 8 feet, Kris.
It's like basically the idea is that they keep meeting all these special people and characters from HP Lovecraft stories, which, again, they were trying to balance it out by both glorifying the man through his work, but also hating the man because racist bigotry, so on and so forth. The problem comes from the fact that I don't know that much about HP Lovecraft.
I only know a little bit.
I know
and none of what I know was touched on.
You know more than me.
None of what I'm familiar with is what they touched on, but like, it's Benny Hill music cued. They meet Carter. They run around trying to find like an answer or something to figure out how to deal with the Somnifax. And Carter's like, yeah, I'll help. And they go to his friend at a library to try and find the Necronomicon, because of course the Necronomicon is what's going to solve everything.
Dr. Armitage, I think?
Yeah.
Yes.
But surprise! I was the Somnifax all along!
I
Thanks for the Necronomicon, jackasses.
It's really clever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a great part because they go in and the Dr. Armitage is like, I don't know what it looks like, so you guys are gonna have to find it yourself. And so they go in and Carter manages to correctly identify the actual thing. And he's pouring through the pages and they happen to find the card, the checkout card.
Which, can I just take a moment as a librarian to geek out about the fucking Necronomicon having a checkout card?
That's pretty great, isn't it?
But it's like, he hands over the checkout card to the doctor. The doctor steps away, and he notices something. And so he calls Flip and Carter over, and he's like, the last person to check out this card was Dr. Armitage himself. So how does Dr. Armitage not know what the Necronomicon looks like? And then Dr. Armitage in the background is like, sup, bitches! It's me, the Somnifax!
And then
they're like, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
I vented and self-reported.
You are so proud of yourself, aren't you, Frez?
Honestly, it was a fantastic game.
For those who missed it, we've had a game of Among Us on Saturday on Rain's channel. He should still have the VOD up there. At one point, Frez finally got to be the shit. What are they called? The imposter.
Well,
thank you.
Here, it started out with him being the imposter. First or second game, and he immediately quit due to his own personal issues with being the imposter. And several murders later,
I freaking lost it.
He got a little salty.
He turned.
Somebody.
I watched the VOD. It's fantastic.
Well, I mean, I apologize to y'all for getting.
Don't
salty,
apologize. It was fantastic.
You found it funny,
Honestly,
so no harm, no foul. But still,
I felt bad for you. I'm sorry.
Either way,
I was going to mention at the end, but the highlights of that
either way, he spent a few rounds deciding to not move, and yet, other people still won because he just wasn't killed. And so a new round pops up, and he's the imposter. And it was really funny because we're on Mira, and for those who know, Mira has cafeteria, and then in a little room next to it, there is the storage area, and you have a task there. So I went up to go to my task. I see Frez standing there. I'm like, "Hi, Frez." He goes, "Hi, Cat," and then I'm dead. And so I'm sitting there watching this. He leaves the room, runs around a little bit. Rainiac is down below where the balloons are, comes up. Frez goes back into storage, reports my murder, and it's like, I just found this. What happened?
Yeah, and then got the
And got away with it. They voted out Rainiac for being right there. I was both proud and just like, what the hell just happened?
One time I reported the body and got voted out. This is a self-report.
And of course, I did the great thing of always voting for Rainiac.
It can only be Frez. Oh, I voted for Rainiac. Oh, great. Yeah, mean message.
100% though. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's honestly fantastic.
I'm going to put up a highlight reel on my YouTube channel this week.
Yay!
I will get around to doing it.
But yes,
that is the story of how proud Frez is, because he got to do a self-report and got away with it.
So in the psyche world of Lovecraft's creations, Armitage reveals the sense of the summon effects, takes the Necronomicon for itself.
The sound effects, this plan is wild. Does it reveal the plan here?
Not yet.
No. It turns into an old woman, a witch.
Yeah, the Dunwich.
Which is also a Lovecraft thing.
It goes through a wall. What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what witches do. They go right through walls. I would know I am
witches.
one.
They got no clip on at all times.
The Doctor also likens Carter to an antibody, which is an interesting idea.
Yeah. Essentially, he's there to get rid of the. Yeah, he's there to get rid of the things that don't belong there. And the Doctor and Flip have a moment of, oh, we better not tell him that we're not from here.
And then 2 seconds later, they immediately tell him they're not from there.
And he's fine with it.
And he's just like, yeah, whatever, cool. Let's go.
Let's move on.
You're from the same thing same place as that thing? Cool.
Great, so you're getting rid of it, right? And they're like, yes. He's like, cool, let's go.
You're both from the outside?
I have a place we can go. Yeah, it was kind of weird because like they set it up to be like this huge inevitable betrayal scene where it's like, oh, I knew you were bad all along and I'm going to turn on you, and he never does. Which is nice.
Which honestly is kind of refreshing because that happens a lot of Doctor Who in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the idea
from what little I've seen.
A literary character meeting his author. Wow. What a good idea that is.
Yeah, this just...
Can I just say, I love that line that he gets where he says, I never expected God to be a Yank.
Yeah.
Yankee.
That was funny.
But when you think about it,
yes.
He would be God to him because he created him.
Yeah. Oh, can I mention that I absolutely love Carter's comparing HP to the idiot god Azathoth, the dreaming horror. If he wakes up, everything dies, and that's just perfection.
Well, you
Perfect.
Can, you just did, so of course you can.
Yeah.
We're up to part 3, by the way, because the typical cliffhanger is just, this Lovecraftian horror is about to emerge and chase our heroes. Part 1 is the Shog Off. Part 2 is the ghouls.
Part 2. Yeah.
Part 3 is Cthulhu itself.
Yeah, basically this thing on Lovecraft's head is failing. Doing so is allowing the Somnifex to open portals into his mind. Lovecraft sees his world, Arkham, exactly as he imagined it. There's a moment of awe, and then he interacts with the ghouls, And
Well, actually, that's a separate thing. They see
Is it?
Arkham, and that's what convinces Lovecraft that Calypso and Constance are telling the truth, essentially.
Yeah.
yes,
And
and
so
then
then he goes back with them to the house to keep safe, and then later on they get another ping saying there's another portal open up, and that's when they go and they meet the ghouls.
yeah, that's right. Oh goodness, and
Having a ghouls night.
Oh.
a. But yeah,
You can't
did they
cancel
talk?
me.
Did they talk with the doctor at that point while they were interacting with the ghouls?
It was after, I think.
That's the beginning of part
Okay.
3. The Doctor's Word comes through one of the portals.
But yeah, Carter is saying, we have to find this thing. I know the perfect way to find it, but it's super dangerous, and it's probably best we don't do it, but we're doing it anyways. So have you ever heard of dream walking? And then he goes to his, I suppose his home or something, where he tells this whole story about how he has a key to the dream world, and they can go through the world of dreams in order to be able to find portals to other places. And one of these places could be where the Somnifex is. So he unlocks the door, they all go inside, and that's when the whole thing with the ghoul starts up, where the Somnifex starts opening a portal to the real world. Ironically, it's on the street at the place where Lovecraft was born.
Mm-hmm.
And so this portal opens up and these ghouls start pouring out, and like Kris said a bit earlier, Lovecraft starts speaking to the main one because he recognizes who this character was because, again, he created the character.
Right.
And he is just marveling at this. The fact that he not only did he create a character, but that this character has come through to real life, essentially, and is everything that he imagined him to be. So, obviously he didn't quite understand exactly what the Somnifex does. Just saying.
Yeah. And this kind of solidifies his resolve to obey, I guess, question mark, or at least comply. He doesn't try to escape or anything like that. He's there to help. He's determined to help.
Well, to a point.
Because that's his
Yeah.
purpose.
He'll be there in the background waving from the sideline, because he has a delicate constitution.
He even says that at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he does get stomach cancer pretty quickly.
Yeah,
after
all
this.
right.
Or
Yeah,
already has.
I mean,
one.
he already had it at that point. He was terrified of doctors, so he didn't get diagnosed until a month before he died.
Honestly, let's just put it this way. He was terrified of everything. That's how
Yeah.
he managed to make such weird-ass shit as Cthulhu and the Necronomicon and
Isn't
everything.
it like how it's
Which I mean, again, goes back to his beliefs and shit. He was terrified of everything. Even
Super anxious.
people who were different from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that might explain why he was.
Which reflects in his fiction of, oh my god, something incomprehensible and different is coming. I'm going to go insane. Ah!
Oh, he was 100% terrified of being insane. Like, he
Oh, yeah.
was so terrified that he would insist that his father didn't have late-stage syphilis. He just, had a mental breakdown from work exhaustion. That's how terrified of being insane he was, because he was afraid that it was genetic or something. I don't know if they had that concept back then, that diseases were genetic.
Yeah, and
I'm sure, they noticed.
Lovecraft's fear of going insane is very nicely detailed in part 4 of the story.
Yeah.
It's a key part
Because-
of part 4.
Yeah, they're walking through the dream world. The ghouls have been dealt with. They find a big stone arch.
I will say,
city thing.
before you get to that, I kind of like the whole, Carter's talking to them, and HP Lovecraft is like, that's Carter? He's handsome. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock, he
He's
looks
you,
just
yeah.
like you.
Yeah, and again, that's where I had that little why are you doing this to him moment. It's like, really? But that aside, because we've already dealt with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ribbing him a little bit would have been fun, but it's like, yeah. Their overall portrayal of the characters versus the person does highlight the dissonance, because Carter is obviously very brave. I haven't read any of the books, so I can't speak to whether or not he's as nasty as HP was, or if that bled into any of his character. But there was a nice contrast there to further the point that you can separate the art from the artist. It's like, yes, pathetic, Weasley little bastard versus big, strong, hunky, handsome dude. Good.
And
Brave
they do
person.
go out of the way to portray Carter as a hero.
Yeah.
Even though he's Lovecraft's alter ego, they do go to great pains to make that comparison.
Yeah, and he doesn't do any of the tropey things of betrayal and turning on anybody or like
Yeah,
that.
it's like even at some point he's like, did Lovecraft ever join the French Legion like I did? And he's like, no, he tried to, but then he didn't get in. And Carter's even like, so he only put me through that hell.
Yeah.
But nothing comes of it, which is a nice like anti-trope there.
What's the great line that Carter gets about Lovecraft when he finds out that he's a creation of his? Oh, it sounds like I'm the wish fulfillment figure of a disappointed man. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn.
I mean, that's
all
every
creation.
single
That's
Mary Sue
perfectly
ever.
fine. That's
every
perfectly
single
fine
Mary
to
Sue.
do. Yeah.
Every single one of them. You know who you are out there.
And then
Me
we get our
included.
major antagonist from the Lovecraft world, which is, and I'm going to get the
I heard
name wrong,
that.
so I apologize in advance, Kris.
The what?
Nyarlathotep?
Oh God, let's just call him Nyan Cat.
Yes. And this is where things get a little problematic. Well, to set up,
I'm going to just interject real fast. The entire time that we were listening to this character and about this character, she was going, yeah, with the little hand thing.
Oh no.
well, you know, yeah. Oh my God.
Oh no.
The entire time.
Oh.
Do you know how hard it is to take something seriously when she's doing that the entire time?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Oh.
Fuck you. I hate you so much.
Kris, scream laughing
But-
because that's amazing.
I
But to
wish I
briefly-
still had those recordings.
Well,
Oh.
so to briefly set up how they get to Nyan Cat, whatever the fuck.
Don't call
They
him
walk
that,
through the
please.
dream world, find a giant statue of Cthulhu. Or Cthulhu, I don't know how to say. I'm just gonna say Cthulhu. I don't know how to pronounce that shit.
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
We'll say
So they
Cthulhu.
find that, and then they find an arch, and they go through, and they end up in a crate on a boat. And they go out on the boat, and then all of a sudden they run ashore on this pillar thing that rose out of the depths of the sea. And they go through, and they find a bunch of fish people,
Yeah.
Great ones.
The deep ones.
The deep ones, yeah.
led by Nyan Cat here, who is a Somnifax, actually, and is going to summon. And this is where things are a little problematic. They kind of describe this character as like almost a racist caricature.
Which is weird because traditional Doctor Who ?
Yeah, I mean, I could say a lot about, if we're talking about separating art from the artist and that sort of thing. A certain Doctor Who story set in Victorian London.
Could it perhaps be?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that entire particular drama was not far off from when this audio came out. So,
Mm,
I'm just saying. When did we do our one and only episode on it? I think it was about 2 years ago now.
Oh no.
I
And
would
this came-
have to double check.
I
I'm pretty sure it was 2020, and this came out in it was like in October 2020, and this came out in January.
Remember
I'm looking it
when
up.
the podcast talked about racism?
It's in one of the last episodes.
Yeah, and also I'm okay again. Hi. I had to just take a moment out there because what Kris said broke me, so I'm okay now.
What do you mean? Yeah?
It was specifically Kris saying it that did it, not you.
Yeah.
God damn it, I'll be right back again.
It's good. Good.
Yeah, now imagine having that next to you for the entire last half of this whole thing.
That sounds like a delight.
Oh, it was fantastic, but also...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Moving
Alright,
swiftly on. They sit there and they make fun of HP Lovecraft for racism. Again.
I mean, yeah, it's like they're calling out Nyarlathotep for being a racist cartoon, basically.
Yeah.
October 14th of 2020, that's when we did...
Yeah, I figured. And
So
this came out in
yes.
January, so, you know, it's not made in response to it or anything, but the same year, so it's like an interesting resonance. But, yeah, so basically, this guy's like, this is the Son of Fax's plan. Aha! I'll summon Cthulhu, and then I'll possess Cthulhu, and I'll be the ultimate cosmic horror nightmare.
Side note, on that episode that we did, we have 135 views, apparently.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of views.
And how many of
No
them have
comments.
never watched us again because they were like, "How dare you talk about my favorite Doctor Who story like that?"
Well, the next episode, the Armageddon Factor, has only 37 views,
That's why the view
so...
count dropped off.
Ooh.
Hey,
I mean, at least they didn't blast you in the comments.
So
They were respectful enough to view it, and whether they agreed or disagreed, they didn't say. That's pretty rare for YouTube.
That's
good.
better, I
So-
think.
Yeah,
So,
that is honestly rare.
So part 3 is basically the ending of he's doing the chants, you know, the bullshit to summon the dread beast.
Flip
and
makes
all
a
that shit.
decent
Yeah.
attempt to grab the Necronomicon, but fails.
Yeah.
And then the Doctor gets it
They-
in this direction.
Yeah, he grabs it and runs off. And they're like, yeah, Neon Cat's like, yeah, you better give that back or I'm going to kill her. And you know I'm serious. And he's like, oh, fine, here. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, ha, ha.
Like, you know, yeah.
God damn it.
His best friend is Skeletor. Yeah!
Why were they removed?
Why were they? God damn it!
I have had some post-coital, to coin a phrase, regrets about that using that. Just look up Morales. Skeletor, it's hilarious. But also fuck Jordan Peterson.
We have fun here.
Up yours, Morris. We'll see who
God damn it.
Was it criminal enough?
But yeah, everything's awful. And it's like,
We're living a
he's
hellscape,
going through
basically.
doing the chanting, and the fish people are like, whoa. And
I
the
think the
doctor...
most amazing part is that he manages to pronounce these words.
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
I want to nitpick on the way that he did the chanting to mimic certain, stereotypical Native American chants, but whatever. They're not racist.
I mean, yeah. That's,
It is Lovecraft.
I know, but they didn't have to do that.
No, they didn't.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my favourite part might be part 4 though, because we get past the whole ritual thing. The scene where they Calypso gets past the guard of the asylum is great. Just because of the names that she calls. Sorry, I've done it now. Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. They call.
Yeah, it's like that's the one
Constance-
problem is that these gender roles, we pretty much grew up with them and they've been imprinted in our heads.
That's exactly
Like the
it.
younger generation, they have it a lot easier because they grew up with non-binary and trans and
We are
a
not
lot
trying
more
to
of
be
that.
bigoted or diminish non-binary people in any way. Hell, I mean, we've got friends who are That sounds no. I'm not going there.
What?
That
We're
sounds
trying
like,
our best, damn it.
That sounds like some of my best friends are black. I'm not going there. But the point
Let's
is,
just put
we
it
know
this
people
way.
who are non-binary.
Unless we can actively talk to a person, like we do with, Krista, it's hard to get the pronouns right when you're talking about essentially a character in a show.
We know Kristen.
Because
and
we're not,
Salt, they are both
personally
non-binary.
talking to them.
That's the point.
Either way, we'll self-correct. But anyway, what is Calypso
the two
do?
aliases are Nurse Ratched for Constance, and HP Lovecraft is Hannibal Lecter, the patient.
Yes.
Right.
It's like, this is my nurse, and this is our patient, and we need to check him in. And HP is just like, no, worst nightmare. Why?
Why do I have to be the patient? Oh, come on, you look the part, Howard.
Right.
Because he's got like patches on him for the equipment that Calypso has placed on his head. Then Calypso uses band technology, a cerebral manipulator, to get past the guard, and is very proud of their work.
Yeah, they did a good job there. That was funny.
It's like, it's band technology, but I think band is a loose term around here. So.
Also, this is probably just me, and I didn't mention this to Kris, but as we were listening to this, the entire time I imagined HP Lovecraft was wearing like a tinfoil hat.
Oh God!
I was thinking a colander.
Fan art. I demand fan art. No.
Kris?
No. I would draw the request for fan art, but it's okay.
Let's see. I can whip that up.
Then we have a really good scene where Lovecraft is being taunted by his own voice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But of course, it's the Somnifax.
Yeah. Was it the Somnifax, or was it just him genuine breakdown because he's literally in his worst night inside of an insane asylum?
Maybe it's both.
Either way, it's really, really well done.
Just his own voice. Yeah. His own voice taunting him, saying that he left his mother to die there, that he belongs in there, and that the thing that made his father go insane was in him too, and he's just having a breakdown on the floor. At least I imagine him on the floor.
Your mother died here, your father died here, and you're going to die here too.
Oh my goodness.
You're gonna float down here.
Oh, for God's sakes! Oh, between that and Kris is going all the time, I just can't win tonight.
No, it's okay. You will absolutely win tonight, Radiac.
Oh! Stop! We haven't even got past Halloween yet, right?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. I could do this.
No, stop! I'm just ignoring you at this point. They get away with the voices. And then, in the real world, they find what Calypso calls
Disney.
Ground Zero.
And it's a pretty good scene right there.
They can't find the breach, and the constantly like, I have a horrible feeling I know where the breach is because I've seen this horror film before. She doesn't say that last part, but sure enough, they go outside, and in the sky above the asylum, not in it, is this massive tear in reality, and they can see
Goddamn.
Nancat. They can see the Doctor. They can see Flip and Carter being held by the cultists.
Out in the middle of the ocean, might I add.
Yes, because the deep ones.
On the sunken city of unpronounceable.
Yan Town, obviously.
It's like relay or something like that.
Yeah,
can't say Yan Town, but my God.
Cat, if only you had the Nyan Cat theme on that soundboard.
No, you don't give her ideas.
I don't have that, but I do have this.
Oh my God.
That'll do.
Help!
drowning. Save him! Pull him out of the sea.
Oh. That's my screen that was
Very
turning to
interesting.
We're having a lot of fun here tonight.
We're having a lot of fun. Speaking of, I really like when they first land on the sunken city and the doctor's trying to pronounce it, and he's like, I can't pronounce this shit. What is wrong with this guy?
Very famous, it turns out. Then we get a wild bit where the Doctor appeals to the Deep Ones, saying, "This man is not your leader.
Hey.
He's a usurper. He's not here to free you. He's here to subjugate you." And the Deep Ones actually listen to the Doctor.
Yeah, they're like, bloop bloop.
Doctor Who, champion of the fish people.
Like, right, we're out of here, guys. So long, thanks for all the fish people.
This is what's playing in Rainiac's mind right now.
I mean, the central bone is very on brand for me at the moment, so yes. But
That was a kazoo, but okay.
So yeah, the fish people, the Deep Ones, they're like, alright, and they go home. They just leave. And Neon Cat's like, well, where are you going? Come back! And he's like, fine, I'll do it by myself. And he flips the last page and like, oh, you took the last page, didn't you? And the Doctor's like, yeah, I did.
and he got the idea from Flip.
Flip's like, yeah.
Now, this is good writing, because this takes a scenario from the companion's history and puts it into the plot. In a naturalish way.
Excellent. Very good.
So I got the idea from
Yeah,
Flip. She was
shit,
once
no.
banished by her cousin, who's totally he didn't say that last part. for reading the back of the final page of his game manual. So I'm taking the final page of your Necronomicon. There's nothing you can do about it. Doctor, if you give me the page, you can share the power with me. Okay.
So this is another, yep, Colin Baker pretending to join the villains trope.
He's like, all right,
So
sure.
though.
No, but see, he has a reason for doing this because he's got a plan. So he's like, I'm not going to give you the page. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read it out for you so that we can finish this whole thing. And then he starts reading, and everybody's like, no, don't do that. And then, hey, guess what, kids? Cthulhu's here.
I'm going to quote my notes because
So now Neon Cat is like, yeah, ha, ha, thank you, Doctor. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. I'm Cthulhu now, big stompy octopus dude.
Cthulhu.
can I just say that I have to quote my own notes here
Cthulhu.
because I've written the following down. The Doctor summons Cthulhu.
I'm going to keep
brackets,
saying it until you acknowledge it. Cthulhu.
My God, I can't believe you would say such a thing.
I've written down in my notes literally the following words. The Doctor summons Cthulhu. Brackets. Yes, that is the sentence I actually typed.
So they're running away, terrified.
Did you just summon
Calypso.
Cthulhu? Yeah, what about it? Oh, okay, carry on.
As
Like
you
it-
do.
They can see this, right? Calypso and Constance.
Yes, basically.
They're like, what the hell is going
They don't
on?
react to
I'm-
it. They don't come to showing to them reacting to the fact that the Eldritch Abomination Cthulhu is here now. But
At the very least, the Doctor decides to take this time to explain exactly what he's thinking. Because, holy shit, you summoned Cthulhu. What were you thinking? And the whole reason he did this is because the Somnifax is bound by whatever rules Cthulhu has. And that means that not only is there a summoning ritual, but there's also a banishment ritual. So if they perform the banishment ritual, they can get rid of the Somnifax. But unfortunately, the Somnifax knows they're going to do this, and he takes the page.
well, they lose the page running from it.
Oh,
Oops.
fumble of the century.
It's pure Scooby-Doo this, but go along with it. I'm just picturing that just shambling around like endless corridors, going after them. It's kind of a great mental image. But,
I'm sure that was a Scooby-Doo thing at one point. There has to be like a monster based off of Cthulhu that they dealt with.
I don't know
Which
about that.
I'm going to-
Ghostbusters fought Cthulhu.
I'm going to nitpick this really fast. Isn't the idea of Cthulhu that as soon as you look at him, you go mad?
Yeah.
Just saying.
The fact that they were in the city at all, they should have gone mad, because that's the area of effect.
Yeah.
Is the further in you
To
go,
be
the more
fair,
insane you get.
The Sixth Doctor does wear that coat willingly.
Hey! You admit it.
It's
I'm
his
not above
fault.
slamming my favorites.
He regenerated, and the first thing he saw was Joseph in his best Technicolor Dreamcoat, and he liked the look.
Hey, that's true. That's true. That was also an ugly coat. It was a very, very ugly coat.
But there's a wild bit in the real world where Calypso is going to execute HP Lovecraft. Because the... No, really. Because the equipment on his head is failing. So Calypso was like, Constance, if I don't do this, Cthulhu's going to get out and both worlds will be doomed. So this way, we'll save our world. And Constance, I won't let you do this because the Doctor's in there. The Doctor is oblivious to all of this.
Well, I mean, when you're kind of
Moral
running
dilemma.
from Cthulhu, that kind of takes precedence. Just a little.
Yeah.
He gets
Just
the missing page to
time
do the
it.
banishment ritual from a deep one of all things.
Yeah, they just come up with like, here, you drop this.
Essentially,
sage
yes.
Who?
She's not
Where
joking,
did
that
Carter
really
go
is
at
what
this point?
happens.
Carter's just sort of disappeared by this point. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, he just like, he was there and then he just sort of tough. Did he go insane just from the sight of Cthulhu because he's bound to the rules of the world and that's
Possibly.
what happens?
Anyway, long story short, the Doctor manages it. He banishes Cthulhu / the Somnifax. They have a whole thing where it's like the summoner is the sacrifice, the banisher is the beast.
The feast.
The beast, yeah. So the Doctor is also supposed to go away, but he's quickly surmised that if we banish the Somnifax, this whole world ends before I get taken. So great.
He's got like a 50-50 chance that this will work.
Yeah. And
I
it
like
works.
those odds, he says.
They don't die in the Matrix, so they don't die in real life. They
And
come
then-
back to it. We get the bit where Flip calls Constance Connie. That's a recurring trend in their adventures.
Whew.
She did the first time.
Yeah,
And Constance was like, I don't like that. I'm Mrs. Clark. And she always insisted being called Mrs. Clark. But she grew to like Flip, and now she kind of likes it at this point. It's like a term of endearment for her. Which again shows that Constance can change. It does. Because, good God, the story before this one, I should just point out, is a really dark one.
Oh, goody.
Because it's about collaborators in World War II.
Oh, joy.
And naturally, Constance, having come from World War II, is like, well, they're getting what they deserve. And Flip is horrified by it, and they have a falling out.
Wow.
But then they apologise to each other, and they come to realise each other's points of view. It's not a bad story. It's called Scorched Earth.
God damn.
That was deep.
And then all that's left is for them to wake up, which they do.
That was
and
a
then
deep
the
one.
bit that Kris mentioned, where the Doctor gives Howard full barrels, both barrels of the criticism.
Yeah. Oh, there throughout this whole thing, like, well, the Somnifax was Nyan Cat. He's like, well, all you want to do is send me back to that explosion so I can die. I don't want to. That's basically murder. You're no better than me.
And it works. The appeal actually works, because the Doctor's like, I've been thinking about what it said, and it's right.
I love this part.
Yeah,
I love this part so
Calypso wants it to give it back to the people that were containing it? Question mark.
Creating it, containing it, something like that. It's for money. It's just for
Yeah,
money.
she's a bounty hunter. She wants the monies. You know.
Except not, because Calypso gives up the bounty.
Yeah, she's captured. She has captured the Somnifax. She's like, I don't really want to give it back to them. So you were right. You can have it. He's like, I'm not gonna send it back to die. It was right. So the back of a sock drawer, is that safe? She's like, yeah, sure.
Hey, kids, remember Tim Shaw?
His tertiary
Oh,
sock drawer.
killing is bad, but locking away for all eternity. Fine.
He would later do this too.
Hey kids, remember Legend of the Sea Boys?
He also did this.
Keeping someone in containment is wrong.
He also did this in
Christ.
and I'm sorry to bring up this particular writer's work, but the monsters in the Shakespeare Code get the same fate.
Oh God.
They get imprisoned in an object, and the object is taken into the TARDIS.
Again, I guess it's appropriate considering we're talking about problematic writers all the time.
Oh, don't get me started on that guy.
Yeah,
Can I just
yeah.
say, it's like, I know we keep harping on Chibnall for good reason, but I also hate how hypocritical he is of the entire series. It's like, does he not remember the Family of Blood from his favorite Doctor ever, where the
It's from
Doctor trapped several
2007.
people?
It's for
The
2007.
Doctor trapped several aliens in various forms of pretty much torture. One was trapped inside of a mirror. One is a scarecrow for the entirety. One got thrown into a black hole, I think.
Yikes.
And
Yeah, what was that first one again?
Yes, I know, Frez. You don't have to keep bringing it up. There's a little girl in a mirror.
Chained with unbreakable metal chains, so he can't break out of them. The mother is put inside the event horizon of a collapsing supernova.
That's what it was.
The daughter, or the sister, is inside the mirror until the 13th Doctor lets her out.
Don't, Frez. Just don't.
Inside the what?
By the way, yeah, the 13th Doctor let her
Anyway,
out.
it was a very extremely good episode, but it still is like, Chibnall, hello? Do you not remember this? You love this series.
But
You
again,
apparently
remember during
have the
lockdown,
biggest
there were
boner
little-
for David Tennant.
There were little shorts of Doctor Who made on YouTube. And in one of them, 13 lets the sister of mine out of the mirrors.
What?
Yeah,
Huh?
Was that one of those lockdown shorts?
yeah. And it's considered.
All right, you're
canon
going to
as
need
well.
to link this to me because I need to know how mad I need to be.
Okay, I'll link that to you later on. No problem.
Thank you.
It's the same actress as well that's narrating it, that's playing sister of mine.
I'll explain it to you later, Kris.
Okay.
Also, that's a really good two-parter. That is not written, quote-unquote, by a bigot.
Paul Cornell's not a bigot.
No, so, yeah, we're okay. We're safe with that one. We can do that one down the line.
Oh, that would be pretty good. Yeah, but are we pretty much done with the Lovecraft
Yeah,
Invasion?
we have the speech at the end where it's like, you're a stupid coward, bigots like you are the worst of humanity, are the real monsters. But then he also says to Calypso, you know, I believe the Lovecrafts of this universe have at least some capacity for change, because if I didn't, what would there be left for me to do? I choose to have hope.
Although
Yeah.
it is a little weird that he gives this whole speech to Lovecraft saying, do better, and then Calypso's like, do you think he really will change? Nah, he's gonna die in like 2 months. It'll be fine.
And Calypso knew about it, or figured it out.
Which is
Thanks,
sad.
Colin Baker.
But that is the Lovecraft Invasion. Would it be alright if Kris went first, given that she's the guest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Kris, hit it.
It was problematic in a few ways, but it was still fun. And it did present a good moral quandary that I believe everybody should face head on with an open mind and kindness in all aspects. But also, yeah.
God damn it!
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
recovering from that. Kat, you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kat!
It was a very good story. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, like I said before, I had my problems with the constant reinforcing of, this guy's a bigot. And I actually found out, apparently, this story was delayed because they wanted to add more dialogue to make it clear that racism is bad. We know racism is bad. Do you really think the people who think racism is okay are going to be listening to this one? Do you? Do you really think that? But, either way, it is a fun story. It dives really well into the whole mythos that Lovecraft created. Really heavy-handed on making him out to be a bad person while also trying to make him a sympathetic character at the end. Obviously, I've already said my piece on Calypso and how they should really have been much better than they were. Overall, I did have a fun time. The only times I was brought out of it were my complaints, and then there were some funny moments where it's just like, really? Did they really do that? So I would highly suggest listening to this one, but go in there with an open mind and, just be aware there are some problems.
And I'm okay again. Okay, can I go third and then Fresno, who picked it, can finish us off?
Sure thing.
Okay, so
No problem.
parts of this are really, really good. Like the overall plot, the idea of going into an author's imagination and encountering their characters, and then those characters encountering the author, that's brilliant. That is so inventive.
Yeah.
I love all that. And
That
the
was fun.
twists throughout the story, the things they don't do, like they don't have Carter turn on everyone enjoying Cthulhu like you'd expect him to. They don't do that. That's great. The only problem is the heavy-handedness of what they do with Lovecraft. And yeah, okay, horrible person, had some terrible views. By all means, let the audience know that, because it's probably not taught in schools or anything like that. But there comes a point where you've got to give it a rest.
Yeah.
You've just got to, for the sake of the story. Otherwise, it's just beating people over the head with a message, and then they go, I say, that Lovecraft chap is quite awful. But I enjoyed it, and I'm glad you picked it. So, Frez, what do you think about it?
I think I'm in the minority here. I really enjoyed it, and honestly, I did not find it that heavy-handed in beating me over the head with the message. But then again, I am aligned with the message, so I'm not immune to propaganda of that type, and saying "fuck a racist" empathetically. I understand and sympathize with your viewpoints, but it didn't lower the story personally for me. But I do get where you're coming from. But there's a lot of great stuff here about, like Rain said, going into an author's imagination. And the whole debate of separating the art from the artist is fascinating. And the doctor calling out Lovecraft at the end was pretty interesting. He doesn't get shouty like you'd expect Colin Baker to get. He just is very calm in his word not-alike sort of dismissal of Lovecraft.
It's like a
And
parent
honestly-
scolding a child.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they had toned it down and left that at the end, that would have made such a much bigger impact than constantly mentioning it and bringing it up over and over again.
In the same vein, I did like Calypso, and I did like the fact that Lovecraft. We didn't mention the inciting incident that Lovecraft basically says a slur to their face, and they respond by punching Lovecraft in the nose, and then delivering the
Which I approve.
iconic line of just saying, "I'm a trans, pansexual, non-binary bounty hunter from the future. I'm everything that you're against, and the future is going to win." I really like that, even if I can see where you're coming from with the whole, it's heavy-handed. You should be more civil and above ground and have the high ground against bigots. I get that, but at the same time, it's me. Sometimes you gotta punch a fucking racist in the nose.
I'm 100% on board with her punching him after he said a slur. But somebody else put it this way, and it makes sense to me. The way she said that line, that I'm a trans, pansexual, non-binary, multiracial, partly human, and everything you despise, it sounds like a teenager going up to their grandma and be like, "Ha, grandma, I don't care what you think. I'm bisexual, and I'm an atheist, so therefore I win. Ha." It kind of felt like that.
Okay, it's a little clunky in some way, but I still like it. God help me, I still like it. I'm not immune to propaganda.
That's okay.
So, that's fine. And I get where you're coming from. We had a nice, lively discussion and debate where we both shared our viewpoints. But in the end, I think this is a very good audio, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I picked it, so that's why I wanted to get this spooky discussion about the spookiest specter of all, problematic art!
Yes.
And anyway, what did you think?
I thought it was okay. Brainiac,
God.
what are we picking next?
God damn it! So I think it's my choice next. But I've got two potential picks. So I'm going to ask you two. Do you want a modern day story? or a classic story?
Classic.
Okay, one vote for classic. Cat?
Which classic?
Well, I'll tell you when you pick whether it's a classic or a... You mean which Doctor?
Yes, which Doctor?
Third.
Ooh, we haven't done a lot of third.
That's the idea.
You know what? I will go classic as well. I want to see what you're going to give me.
Okay, well, we haven't done a lot of the third Doctor, and I think that should change. And I think the best way to do that is to tackle what I think is to believe to be one of his best adventures. So next time on Doctor Who Reviews, John Pertwee stars in The Curse of Peladon.
Hey!
I was trying to remember which was the good Peladon story and the bad Peladon story, and I think The Curse is
Yes,
the good one.
that is the good Peladon story. The 4-part one with Joe Grant.
Is the curse that you have to pay a lot of money in order to be able to use the bike in the first place?
Peladon,
The curse is that...
Peladon,
The curse
Kris
is
got
that the
it?
episode... Yeah.
No,
No.
that's
Here,
Pelatron.
here's the curse, Rainiac. We get to talk about Brexit.
What?
What?
What? Oh, yeah.
Why are we talking about
Because
Brexit?
there's a union of aliens which is an allegory for the European Union. He's right.
Oh.
Also, that
Have fun.
Peloton gag, solid delivery, 5 out of 7.
Hey.
Rainiac, where can you find us, lovely people?
Peloton, not Peloton. John Pertwee will not be pedaling
Yes.
a bike to beat the monsters. No, it's... Although I'd love to see that. You can find us on Twitter at Reviews Doctor.
Doctor, what are we going to do? There's only one thing we can't do. Get our cardio up.
As I say, you can find us on Twitter at Reviews Doctor. You can also find us individually at Rainiac the Maniac, at Freezing Inferno, at Conquer Usurper, and Kris does not want me to give out her Twitter, so...
I'm a cryptid. Find me if you can.
Do you mind me giving out your Twitter or not?
I don't use it, so no, please.
Okay.
You can find Kris on Twitter at... Yeah.
You can find Kris on Twitter at Redacted. And then
I mean, let's be fair. They could probably just look through one of our things and be able to find her anyways. So.
we're also on Twitch. We're also on Twitch, on Twitch.tv, twitch.tv/Rainiac, /Freezing Inferno, /Cock Up Usurper, /Redacted for Kris, and / the Kachiri.
She actually doesn't have one.
That's why it's redacted, because it doesn't exist.
She mooches off mine.
Individually, I mean, good.
I actually do. I take pictures of Fuego Talkies for Markiplier.
Individually, no, I've done that already.
Y'all gonna pay for that OnlyFans?
But
Kris,
Yep.
Damn right
tell
I
them
am.
what you want from Markiplier's OnlyFans.
I want feet pics, and I want a talkie between every single toe.
so ignoring all of that, you can buy Back to the Unveiled by Kris McTeer, Volumes 1 and 2 on Amazon.com. You can buy The Tower of the Trees. Is that right?
Yes.
By Sean Dillon. It's usually you that gets that title wrong, not me. You can buy you can to Markiplier's OnlyFans to make Kris very happy. No, don't do that. And,
I just want to pay for him to eat a whole talkie, not sucking off the powder and spitting out the chip. I want him to eat the whole thing.
oh, that's disgusting.
I would wish
Tasteful
that on my
nudity is
person.
optional.
And join us next time for what the hell did I even pick? The Curse of Peladon with John Pertwee. Thank you very much to Kris for making this an absolute blast to be part
It was
of.
fun. It was fun. I'm sorry for getting on my soapbox. I'll get off of it now.
Thank you to Frez.
Yeah,
Oh, it's okay. I get on the soapbox all the time.
And thank you
The
to
soapbox
Kat
has
for
little
being
indents
Kat.
from where my feet have been.
Thank you to Kat for being Kat, and thank you to you, the audience, for listening to us talk about Lovecraft and what a terrible person he was ad nauseam for 2 hours. And join us next time for The Curse of Peladon. Until then, bye for now.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Oh no, not that song again. Where's the mute button when I need it?
This is like play it soft keyboard cat.
What the hell? I'll keep it this as the outro. I don't care anymore.
Oh, you don't care anymore?
Stop! No.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
John Bishop is a friend.
Bye.
Oh my god.
You can't hide from my shame-bringing.
Hi, Kachiri. How you doing?
If it happens, I'm going to yell very loudly, trick or treat!
That's fine. That's the cue to cut it. Not too loud. I don't want to go deaf.
Not too loud. I don't want to scare them off.
The audience is now deaf.
All I can imagine is some kids outside going, "Twig or tweet," and then they hear, "Trick or treat."
That's some scream bullshit right there.
Ray, were you recording?
Yes.
Are we recording right now, Reniac?
Yes.
Please put that in the board for real.
Yes.
Oh, hey kids, guess what? I spy with my little eye outside my window some trick-or-treaters up the road.
Go get him. We'll put it there.
Awesome.
Well, they'll be here in like a couple minutes. They'll be here in like 2 minutes, I think.
All right. We got.
Because I'm the next house.
I'll call this.
Oh wait, no, they're going to. Oh wait, they're going to the house across the road before that.
Okay, we'll call it a cut here, and we'll go back in. 3.
Okay. We'll just wait a couple minutes for those kids to get here.
Oh, we can do that too.
Just
yeah.
because I can see them.
But
And it's like, when
have to
I
say
know
that-
I am
that,
going to get
that
interrupted,
Death
so
Note
it's just
parody
too
was
bad.
amazing, and I
Yes.
can't believe they did it. It wasn't particularly funny, so I don't think it went down very well with a lot of people.
In other
who
words,
watched
it was Modern Simpsons.
Yeah. This is
Oh.
the problem, isn't it? At what point?
Yep.
Trick or treat.
Oh,
Oh.
wow, they took a sweet time to get here, didn't they?
Yeah, seriously. We've had a whole
Goodness.
patented cat rant this entire time.
Buy a scooter or
Yeah.
something, please.
No, it's like, make sure your porch lights are on, or they'll skip you. At least that's the way they do it out here. I don't know how they do it over there.
That's the way we did it back east too. Porch light on, you got candy.
Porch light
Yep.
off, they TP
Porch
the
light
car.
off.
I'm guessing.
Iron Man and the Gorilla. We had Iron Man and the Gorilla.
Cool.
Aw.
We're up to part 3, by the way, because the typical cliffhanger is just, oh, this Lovecraftian horror is about to emerge and chase our heroes. Part 1 is the Shoggoth. Part 2 is the ghouls.
Part 2. Yeah.
Part 3 is Cthulhu itself.
Because we
Part
knew
4
that
is my telephone.
the greatest
Hey,
horror of them all.
answering the phone in this day and age? Of course it is.
He picks up the phone. It's just a little voice saying, "Trick or treat."
We're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
You can save 10% of your insurance by switching to Geico.
I heard you talking shit, motherfucker.
Hi.
Oh, goodness.
Open
Hello.
the gate.
Hi.
It's cold out here.
It was a fucking spam number.
Oh.
Of course it was.
That was
Were
pretty
they
funny,
calling about
honestly.
your car's extended warranty?
I don't know. I don't pick that shit up.
Good choice.
I literally just look at the number and it's like, I don't know this number. In fact, well, actually, I know this number because it called this morning, and I know this number because when I Google it, nothing comes up. So it's like, if nothing comes up on Google and you don't leave a voicemail, I ain't fucking picking up.
So
Hey.
Frez picks up the phone, goes, hello. It goes, like a good neighbour, State Farm is there. And Frez just reaches for the shotgun.
I want to write a small horror short about that, where someone picks up the phone and it's like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and then the State Farm agent comes up behind them and stabs them.
Yeah.
Christ almighty.
Doctor, what are we going to do? There's only one thing we can do. Get our cardio up.
Trick or treat!
You're kidding. We're about to end. We're about to end.
Personality.
A little bit in the not quite beginning.
Turn or what?
Are they? Just go out there and start chucking candy at them. Then go inside. They'll be fine.
That might be an assault.
Only if you hit.
Well, that's a waste of good sweets then. If you go ahead. Nothing about this plot is good, Kris.
Throw the candy harder.
The kids
They
are
might
like,
be
"Oh
child
my
actors.
God,
Throw it
took
super
my eye
hard.
out."
Just leave the bowl on the porch.
Y'all, you
Uh-oh.
can't fucking make it up. 2 little girl trick-or-treaters. One was in this, like, I don't know, sort of like blue robe thing. The other, I shit you not, a Gryffindor!
Oh my god! It's come full circle!
No, they already did that episode.
Holy shit.